Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a very special celebration for Rotary Australia and New Zealand. And to put us all in a great mood, and that's what we'd like right throughout the proceedings this morning and early afternoon, our very special guest. He has sold over 18 million albums, has 29 worldwide top 10 hits, 10 global number ones. And I tell you what, the CV goes on and on. He's a Grammy winner. Would you please welcome on stage a very, very special guest, the one, the only, Leo Sayer.
Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody. Hi. Are you ready? Here we go. Whoa. Why must my life be filled with sorrow? Oh, love you more than I can say. Oh, yeah. Don't you know I need you so? So tell me, please, I want to know. Do you mean to make me cry? Am I just another guy? Whoa. Don't you know I need you so? So tell me, please, I want to know. Do you mean to make me cry? Am I just another guy? Yeah. Oh, yeah. I love you more than words can say. I love you twice as much. Tomorrow, love you more than I can say. Oh yeah, I love you more than words can say. I love you more than I can say. More than I can say. Twice as much tomorrow, more than I can say. Yeah. I love you more than I can say. Can say twice as much tomorrow. More than I can say. 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 Oh, thank you so much. Woo! I can't tell you all what a thrill it is to be here representing Rotary clubs because they do such a marvelous job. So it's lovely to be here today. Governor-General, Mrs Hurley, lovely to be in your presence. Thank you. Okay, love song. You can sing along to this at home if you can hear it. Okay. I'll be watching. When I need you, I just close my eyes and I'm with you. All that I so wanna give you, it's only a heartbeat away. When I need love, I hold out my hands and I touch love. keeping me warm night and day. Miles and miles of empty space in between us. A telephone can't take the place of your smile. Oh, yet you know I won't be traveling forever, no, no. It's cold out, but hold out and do like I do when I need you. I just close my eyes and I'm with you. All of that I so wanna give you, babe. It's only a heartbeat away. It's not easy when the road is your driver. Honey, that's a heavy load that we bear. Yet you know I won't be traveling a lifetime, no, no. It's cold out, but hold out and do like I do when I need you. This is the bit we all sing along. When I need love. Here we go. When I need love, I hold out my hands and I touch love. I never knew there was so much love for keeping me warm night and day, yeah. When I need you, yeah, I just close my eyes and I'm with you. All that I so wanna give you, it's only a heartbeat away. I just hold out my hands, I just hold out my hands. Wow, and I'm with you, darling, yeah, yeah. And all I wanna give you, yeah, yeah, it's only one heartbeat away. When I need you. Thank you. Now there's so much love in this room, you won't believe it. So now we're going to try a bit of dancing in seats and dancing on the spot. Are you ready? Okay, that's all the best we can do. Roll that music. Woo! I'm going to dance. Fine. Is that okay? Okay. I can't dance with anybody today. That's how it is. But I know you're dancing at home. All you wonderful Rotarians watching this, we salute you. Okay, you make us feel like dancing. You've got a cute way of talking. Yeah. You've got the better of me. Ooh. I just snap your fingers and I'm walking like a dog hanging on the lead. Yeah, yeah. I'm in a spin, you know, shaking on the string. No, you make me feel like dancing, dancing now. You make me feel like dancing every night and every day. You make me feel like Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, wherever you are in Australia, New Zealand or the Pacific, put your hands together for Leo Sayer. Thank you, Leo, for starting proceedings. A world star. Amazing, amazing. Thank you. I'm David Mann and I'm in Melbourne. This is a bit of technology. I tell you what, we're travelling all around the world basically at the Nossal High School. And thank you to Governor Mark Humphries from Gippsland for the use of these magnificent facilities. And welcome to the Rotary Centenary Baton launch, Government House, Canberra, on this Friday, the 10th of July, the year 2020. A very great celebration, thinking of what's happening across the world right at the moment. A lot of people suffering, a lot of sadness, and a lot of uncertainty. But it's lovely to have a positive event, something that we can all be proud of. A great event and a great organisation. Welcome to our VIPs. Everybody is a VIP within the Rotary family, but certainly a very special welcome to His Excellency General, the Honourable David Hurley, AC, DSC, retired, and Her Excellency Mrs Hurley. To the Honourable Alex Hawke, MP, Minister for International Development and the Pacific. To Gary Brown, AM, Co-Chair with Hugh Bucknell, the National Centenary of Rotary Committee. And also we welcome our District Governors, Mr Michael Moore from Canberra, Mr Warwick Richardson from Sydney, Mr Philip Archer from Melbourne, and Presidents Ms Fatima Ali from Sydney and President Ms Marion McLeod from Melbourne. I'm not a Rotarian, ladies and gentlemen, but I'm very proud to have done many functions with my Rotary clubs across Victoria. And I can say it because Rotarians don't often take credit for what they do, but they're an amazing group of people. The men, the women, the extended families do a terrific job. And today is celebrating something very special. And to be at Government House in Canberra is special. And ladies and gentlemen, to formally welcome you, I ask His Excellency General, the Honourable David Hurley, AC, DSC retired, to please welcome you to this very special event. Your Excellency.
Well, David, thank you very much for a very warm welcome, and Linda and I are delighted to be able to share with you at Government House today a very particular and special occasion in the life of Rotary, both here in Australia and New Zealand, and of course internationally for the broader organisation. I'll begin by acknowledging that Government House here in Canberra sits on the land of the Ngunnawal people, and I thank them for looking after this beautiful part of our country so well over generations and generations, and pay respect to their elders past and present. Could I also acknowledge the Honourable Alex Hawke MP, who will be joining us virtually for this gathering today, Mr Gary Brown AM, the Chair of the Centenary of Rotary Australia Project, Ms Fatima Ali, the President of Rotary Club of Sydney, of which I was the great fortune to be an honorary member whilst I was the Governor of New South Wales, Ms Marion McLeod down in Melbourne, the President of Rotary Club of Melbourne, to our Rotary District Governors, Club Presidents, Rotarians, all those who have joined us today, welcome. As ambassadors of Rotary, of course, Linda and I are delighted to share this occasion with you, and particularly with our friends across the ditch in New Zealand. 100 years, of course, is a milestone in any organisation's life, and it's certainly a cause of celebration. But as is the way with Rotary, it's not just celebration in looking back, you are always looking forward. And that's very much the theme of this centenary. Now, normally on occasions like this, we'd love to gather you all in the house here, share the good time together, be able to chat, meet, and get that energy going. Of course, we can't do that, so we're going to have the virtual energy today. And thankfully, we have the technology to do that, and thank all those in the back of the room who have helped us put it together. In preparing for this event, I came across two descriptions of a typical Rotarian that was given in 1921. A Rotarian is a go-getter and a practical idealist. Now, if you put those descriptions together in the context of Rotary's work in the community and how you go about doing your work, I think implied in those descriptions are the following characteristics. You have a positive attitude, there's a preparedness to think big and not to be afraid of tackling big projects, and there's ability to see a project through to the end. When I look at what Rotary has achieved in the first 100 years and its projects currently underway, it's clear to me that the descriptions of a Rotarian in 1921 really hold true today. Someone who dreams big, achieves much, and makes an outstanding contribution to our relevant societies. Rotarians live and breathe community. They are dependable, they're selfless, and they want to make the world a better place. Now, coincidentally, this morning I was preparing some work for the Prince's Trust, which I'm engaged with here in Australia. And while I was doing that, I was watching a video that His Royal Highness Prince Charles made a couple of months ago about current situation and what his trust is doing. In that, he used a term that really grabbed me and I thought was relevant today, where he said, we shouldn't let our current circumstances define the prospects of a generation. They shouldn't define the prospects of a generation. And how apt is that for Rotary, where Rotary sees broad needs. So in the fields of water security, education, agriculture, health, you have not let the conditions that people might find themselves define them as human beings or indeed as a generation. Two examples, of course, of your centenary goals. To end infectious eye disease, trachoma, in Australia, and we know that is very prevalent in high rates amongst our Indigenous communities. And secondly, with the support of UNICEF, to provide life-saving vaccines to over 100,000 children in 9 Pacific nations. These are big dreams, big projects, and being worked on, though, in a big way. And can I add, with a big heart, which is just as important, or even more so. So you don't want to let current conditions define the future of generations or their prospects. In relation to the pandemic and how it's affected us at the moment, Linda and I have travelled around Australia during the back end of during all the bushfire periods, a back end as it tailed into the pandemic period. We've spoken to quite a number of organisations around the country while our travel's been limited. And what I can say is that Rotary has been on the ground in our communities where Australians need you most. You have made a very positive difference to the life of people who have been adversely affected by bushfires or are suffering because of the lockdown requirements of the COVID-19 pandemic. You are an inspiring organisation. They sound little words, but they mean a lot. You are an inspiring organisation. And in challenging times, it's important for countries to have organisations like this that work at the ground level with our people to help them along. You have done a lot of good for both our countries, Australia and New Zealand. So, not letting current circumstances define our prospects, not letting solvable problems define our prospects is what you are about. So as your Rotarians across Australia and New Zealand think about the past, I know many are working on centenary projects for this period, but also will be looking forward to what comes in the next 100 years. And I'm guaranteed, knowing the people involved in Rotary, there will be another 100 years. This will not stop, because big hearts don't stop beating. So Linda and I, as I say, delighted to be here with you today to share a very special occasion, part of the handing over the baton to start the processes for a centenary, always important, and follows a lot of traditions that we're used to in our broader life here in Australia and the Commonwealth. So congratulations. Again, a joy to be sharing the occasion with you. I'm afraid I can't sing like Leo, though I did tap my feet and nod my head. Yeah, I think Leo is sort of exemplifies in many, many respects what you're about. Joy, a real love of life, a big heart, and contributing all the time. So thank you and welcome.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much to our Governor-General for that inspiring speech. And Your Excellency, it's not on the running sheet, but I think I should mention, obviously all Australians know of your very distinguished career within the Defence Force. And right now, I just publicly, on behalf of all Rotarians, like to thank all our Defence Force personnel across Australia and across the world at the moment, helping out in this very difficult time. And we are so blessed to have magnificent leadership. And Your Excellency, thank you for your wonderful leadership in the Defence Forces and your continuing role as Governor-General. Ladies and gentlemen, to formally thank our Governor-General, would you please make welcome Gary Brown, AM, the co-chair of the National Centenary of Rotary Committee. Mr. Brown.
Thank you, David, and thank you, Your Excellency, for those inspiring and heartfelt words. Can I also acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which and pay tribute, pay my respects to those elders past, present and emerging. You are right, so right, when you say there is much uncertainty at the moment. Recovery on so many fronts will take time, and as our motto states, service above self fits in every way. When Paul Harris started Rotary 115 years ago, I'm not sure he imagined that there would be a club in nearly every country and that Rotary would become the largest non-religious organisation in the world with over 1.2 million members in approximately 31,000 clubs in more than 166 countries. Just 15 years after the formation of Rotary in the USA were formed clubs in Australia and New Zealand, and so we are celebrating our centenary this year. In Australia and New Zealand, we have over 32,000 members across 1,284 clubs. We are all committed to the values and spirit of Rotary, values in action that transcend political and cultural boundaries and foster global understanding and respect. What a year to be celebrating 100 years of uniting people from all continents and cultures who take action to deliver real long-term solutions to our world's most persistent issues. Making a positive difference to the life of one person is a good thing. Making a difference to hundreds or thousands, a community, a country, is another thing altogether. And this is what Rotarians do. Rotary harnesses and develops a value-based, action-orientated style of responsibility and leadership. We develop leaders who have the spirit of community at their heart, those who are committed to supporting those who need our support. This year and beyond is all about sharing our values, our knowledge and expertise to make this world a better place. We deliver more and add great value to almost everything we touch. We give of our time and of ourselves as Rotarians. Developed and nurtured over 100 years by living our values every day through our actions and support for communities, has built strong trust and confidence and worldwide recognition. Through this, we have been invited to participate in global initiatives that have fostered peace, changed the world, helped communities and families, and fundamentally changed a measurable difference to the unique lives of millions of young children, mothers, fathers, brothers, sisters, and more. We are all living through an unprecedented time of upheaval, uncertainty, and fear. But it is the very global nature of COVID-19 that is driving unprecedented global collaboration. Even during this period, a global pandemic, Rotary Australia and New Zealand has projects running throughout our wider geographic community in water, literacy, education and health. Our long-standing global collaboration to eradicate polio through the purchase of the polio vaccine and support of social mobilisation to perform immunisation and campaigns is the precursor to our current work on ending trachoma in Australia and providing life-saving vaccines for various diseases to 100,000 children across 9 Pacific nations. Rotary is a truly unique organisation and has an exciting and inspiring future. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much to Gary Brown, AM, the co-chair of the National Centenary of Rotary Committee. And it's just a good feeling, as I said before, positive and a beautiful day for so many people and the formalities of the baton passing. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's now time for the official launch of the baton relay. And I now invite the Governor-General and Ms Fatima Ali forward for the baton passing. Governor-General and Ms Ali.
Of the journey, Fatima, and congratulations to you and Rotary.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency. And it's an honour to receive this from you.
Thank you.
And so let's the journey begin. Let's the celebration begin in New South Wales, in Australia, and go Sydney. This is for my fellow Rotarians in Sydney. If you're watching me now, this is for you.
Well done.
Thank you to the Governor-General and to Miss Ali, the President, Rotary Club of Sydney, and you could see the smiles there. Very, very proud Governor-General, very proud President, Rotary Club of Sydney, and thank you. I now ask the Governor-General to take his seat, Miss Ali to be seated. And this is, well, I'll tell you what, between Melbourne and Sydney and our friends in New Zealand and across the Pacific, we hope that you're receiving everything loud and clear. And now there's a little bit of theatre involved, because I now invite Mrs Hurley forward to pass the baton to Miss Marion McLeod, the President, Rotary Club of Melbourne, and we're based in Melbourne, and of course Mrs Hurley is in Canberra.
Thank you, Mrs. Hurley. And so begins the centenary in Victoria, albeit in full lockdown, but we look forward to sharing the baton around shortly. Thank you.
Thank you. And Mrs Hurley, thank you very much for what you do for this wonderful country of ours and your extended commitments with the Governor-General right across the world. We are very, very appreciative of your time today too. And Marion McLeod, President, Rotary Club of Melbourne, now has the baton. I tell you what, that was very clever. I think we should set up a film company with Rotary International, you know, just that passing of the baton. It's wonderful. Ladies and gentlemen, now it's time for you to understand exactly about the R100 project. It's a very special video. Rotary, give every child a future.
Now what you got? I guess soy Venezuela.
You go to any health clinic here, any hospital, and you see sick kids in bed. Sick kids who often have illnesses that are preventable. belong in hospitals, they don't belong in health clinics, they belong at home with mom and dad and the rest of their family. And that's what vaccinations enable. Vaccinations are safe. Vaccinations are necessary. Vaccinations are a right of every child in this country and every child around the world. It's a little jab. Hurts for a second, but it can really save a child's life. And that's the message we try to get to mothers, to communities, to leaders all around the world. And that message is getting through. Each of us, our friends in Rotary, UNICEF, and all the other partners we work with are working together for the very same cause, the cause of that child in that community.
The Rotary 100 project, give every child a future. I'll say that again. Wouldn't it be wonderful if we could achieve that? Give every child a future. Rotary, you can do it. Ladies and gentlemen, we're very privileged to have many dignitaries with us today, and it's now my pleasure to introduce the Honourable Alex Hawke, MP, Minister for International Development and the Pacific. Minister.
Well, thank you and good morning, everyone. It's a real pleasure to be here today, obviously for Rotary's 100th birthday within Australia. But also, I could start by saying to His Excellency, thank you for hosting this morning. To the Indigenous owners of the land, I acknowledge my respects, past and present. And also to Leo, you really have a valuable commodity when you can get my 2-year-old dancing here. So you might consider a streaming service during the pandemic. It was, I know my staff had a few 2-year-olds as well dancing away. So well done. The reason we're here this morning, it was really important to follow that presentation there. I noticed the very serious stats that were thrown up there, and sometimes we forget with our Pacific family and our international partners in the region that 1 in 18 children in Kiribati there will die before their 5th birthday. And that really speaks to me about the role that Rotary in our region plays. And I know just the Rotary clubs in my electorate, but throughout Australia, the little things that they do, sometimes we think of them as small things, are really the big things that help people in regions like the Pacific Islands. And the difference that you can make is enormous. And I really encourage and thank you for everything that you've done over that 100 years. Governments have budgets and limitations on what we can achieve. We only can do with as much money as we receive from taxpayers, as much as we can try and do. And as the Minister for International Development, we have a limited budget and we try and make it go as far as we can. We have our agencies with the Defence Forces. We have our foreign aid agencies as well that work very hard and do a lot of good in the world and in our region. But we really couldn't get the effects that we're trying to achieve without those 35,000 clubs around the world and all of the clubs within Australia who really take a particular focus on the region like the Pacific. And the contribution you make is invaluable. It's deeply appreciated by the government. It's work that we can't always get done with all of our arms and all of our agencies. And I know the difference that you make is felt by people throughout the region. So I say to all of our family who might be listening or watching today, our Pacific family, people from New Zealand, people from Kiribati, people from all over the islands of the Pacific, we, especially at this time, we care for you. We care for what you're going through, and we are all in this together as a region, and we know that as well. And I know Australia and New Zealand and partners like Fiji and Papua New Guinea are working very closely to do whatever we can to get us through together what is going to be a very difficult health and economic challenge, and we're doing very well at it so far. So to Rotary, I just want to say to every one of you there today at Government House, to everyone listening, thank you on behalf of the Australian government, thank you on behalf of the Australian people. Your contribution is really well understood and people do know and are very grateful, but 100 years is just such a special milestone for me to be here to say thank you. The Baton relay is a very exciting idea, and I know it'll be something that's felt very profoundly in communities around Australia as it passes through those communities, a real touch point for everybody to acknowledge the great voluntary contribution that you make. So thank you for everything you're doing, and I really look forward to working and partnering with you even further. We love organisations like Rotary who continue to focus all of their efforts and attention on helping others and serving others and doing such a fantastic job for all of us. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Honourable Alex Hawke, MP, Minister for International Development and the Pacific. And Minister Hawke, thank you for your strong words of support for Rotary in Australia and New Zealand. And like you, I know from my very long association with Rotary that all our Rotary friends who are people of action, they make a significant and lasting difference to the communities around the world in so many ways. And Rotary looks forward to partnering with DFAT to carry out their vital work in their centenary year of Rotary in Australia and New Zealand, where Rotary will open up so many opportunities. I think that word action is so relevant, Rotarians. So, ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together again and thank the Minister. Now, the Minister did say that he liked the entertainment. Well, we have a bit of a surprise for you now. We have, to start off, a very young person, and Rotary inspires people of all ages, all nationalities, all cultures, all religions, but they make a difference and they support people. And this young man has been supported by many Rotary clubs. Nicholas Jones is a brilliant young operatic tenor, currently a member of the Young Artist Program for Opera Australia. And since 2007, he has performed in dozens of productions for Opera Australia, and he's even won a Green Room Award. So that's pretty good when you get a Green Room Award. He's worked with opera companies and orchestras around Australia, and this year he'll be performing with the Tasmanian Symphony, the Christchurch Symphony and Pinchgut Opera. And Nicholas has a long-standing relationship with the Rotary Foundation, another amazing part of Rotary South Bank District, and is pleased to be in Canberra today sharing in this milestone for Rotary International. Please make welcome yet another special guest, ladies and gentlemen. I think he would be so proud to be performing at Government House in Canberra, Mr. Nicholas Jones.
To dream the impossible dream, to fight the unbeatable foe, to bear with unbearable sorrow, to run where the brave dare not go, to right the unrightable wrong, to love pure and chaste from afar, to try when your arms are too weary, to reach the unreachable star. This is my quest, to follow that star, no matter how hopeless, no matter how far, to fight for the right without question or pause, to be willing to march into hell for a heavenly cause. And I know if I'll only be true to this glorious quest, that my heart will lie peaceful and calm when I'm laid to my rest. And the world will be better for this, that one man, scorned and covered with scars, still strove with his last ounce of courage to reach. This is my quest, to follow that star, no matter how hopeless, no matter how far, to fight for the right without question or pause, to be willing to march into hell for a heavenly cause. And I know if I'll only be true to this glorious quest, that my heart will lie peaceful and calm when I'm laid to my rest. And the world will be better that one man, scorned and covered with scars, still strove with his last ounce of courage to reach the unreachable stars.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's keep that applause going for Nicholas Jones. Nicholas, thank you so much for that wonderful performance. And I was going to say a star in the making. He's already a star, but remember the name Nicholas Jones. We're getting close to the close of formalities, but I think particularly for the Minister who enjoyed it, and I know the Governor-General and Mrs Hurley were tapping the feet there. And I'll say it again because some of the dignitaries were not in the room. He has sold 18 million albums, 29 worldwide top 10 hits, 10 global number ones, and is a Grammy winner. He's done it all. Please make welcome back Leo Sayer.
Thank you. Compliments to Nicholas, that was fantastic. So follow that. Woo! I was driving down the road, feeling hungry and cold. Saw a sign saying food and drinks for everyone. So naturally I thought I would take me a look inside. Woo! I saw so much food, there was water coming from my eyes. Yeah, yeah, there was ham, there was turkey, there was caviar with long tall glasses with wine up to here, and then somebody grabbed me, threw me out of my chair. What? Said before you can eat, you gotta dance like Fred Astaire. Who, me? You know I can dance, you know I can dance. Of course I can, I've tried, but I just can't dance. Oh no, I can't dance. It's the best I can do. All right, come on. Woo! What an audience. I'm a man of the road, a hobo by name. I don't seek entertainment, just poetry and game. But if it's all the same to you, then yes, I will try my hand. Woo! If you're as hungry as me, then I'm sure you would understand. Now wait a minute. You know I can dance, you know I can dance. Of course I can dance, of course I can dance. Woo! Oh yes, I can dance. Oh, this is easy. Woo! Come on, dance with me. Come on, Rotarians. Are you going to join me? All right, here we go. Woo! Rudy Valentino, you should have seen me moving right across the floor. Woo! Hand me down my tuxedo. Next week I'm coming back for more. Yeah, I can dance. Woo! I can dance. Look at me dancing, the floors are moving. Woo! I feel good. I can dance. 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 I can. Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much. Happy 100th Rotary.
Government House will never be the same. Everybody dancing through the corridors there, and it's wonderful. It's a wonderful celebration. We have one more very, very special artist. And it's wonderful for everyone viewing across Australia, New Zealand and the Pacific for this celebration of Rotary New Zealand 100 years and the Baton Relay launch. and the privilege of having Government House and the Governor-General and Mrs Hurley hosting this event, but a gentleman who is an Australian, in fact, an East St Kilda boy from Victoria. He barracks for the Western Bulldogs, and he's a triple threat. He is a singer, a dancer, and an actor, and he's been a friend of Rotary's for many, many years. And over the years, he's been in the ensemble of many of the great shows, West Side Story and Beautiful, the musical, all about Carole King. But recently, he thought he'd take the big step and go to London and see what's happening in London. And to make it on the West End or Broadway in New York is probably the ultimate for many, many performers. He decided he would audition, and he wasn't sure for what, but Phantom of the Opera came up. Phantom of the Opera. And he auditioned to be the Phantom on the West End. His name is Josh Pitterman. And when I told Josh that the Governor-General is hosting a very special event on this Friday, he said, well, the theatres are closed. My friends don't have any work, but we need people to inspire us, and Rotarians do that. And he said, with my friend John Foreman, OAM, who is a musical genius based in Melbourne, he's a musical director and arranger and a brilliant personality, he said, let's do it via Zoom. I'll be in the lounge room and John will be in Melbourne, and it sort of has technical things around it to make it happen. And he said they'd love to do it. So ladies and gentlemen, to conclude proceedings today, and once again, thank you, Governor-General, Mrs Hurley, and to all the guests for being a part of it, a very special Rotary performance by Josh Pitterman, who is the Phantom in Phantom of the Opera in London, and Mr John Foreman, OAM.
Heightens each sensation, darkness stirs and wakes imagination. Silently the senses abandon their defenses. Unfurls its splendor, grasp it, sense it, tremulous and tender. Turn your face away from the garish light of day. Turn your thoughts away from cold, unfeeling light, and listen to the music of the night. Close your eyes and surrender to your darkest dreams. Put your thought of the life you knew before. Close your eyes, let your spirit start to soar. And you'll live as you've never lived before. Softly, deftly, music shall caress you. Hear it, feel it, secretly possess you. Open up your mind, let your fantasies unwind in this darkness which you know you cannot fight. The darkness of the music of the night. Let your mind start a journey through a strange new world. Leave all thought of the world you knew before. Let your soul take you where you each sensation. Let the dream begin. Let your darker side give in to the power of the music that I write. The power of the music of the night. My song take flight. Help me make the music of the night.
Let's that applause keep going, ladies and gentlemen, for Josh Bitterman and John Foreman, OAM. Gentlemen, thank you with the music of the night. And ladies and gentlemen, I have to acknowledge we had permission from Sir Andrew Lloyd Webber and Sir Cameron McIntosh to actually present that for Rotary. So to both those gentlemen and their executive team, thank you very, very much. My name's David Mann. It's been a pleasure and an honour to be your MC for this very special event. And once again, congratulations to Rotary. The Rotary Club's 100 years. May the next 100 years be as great, as giving and as inspirational as the past 100 years. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon.